So you wanna be a picture book writer, then you gotta write picture books. And you're gonna need a bucket load of bright ideas for titles, plots, and hooks. If you're partial to prose or you're raring to rhyme, then repeat after me, it's a challenge, but I'm gonna tackle each story 1 month at a time with 12 by 12.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 12 by 12 Picture Book Podcast. I'm published author and founder of 12 by 12, Julie Hedlund. I'm here today with my lovely co-host and right-hand woman, we're still looking for a title, Kelli Panique.
Hello.
And our guest today is the lovely and amazing Marzieh Abbas, who is at this point, a very well-published author, a longtime member of 12 by 12. Her books are so wide-ranging, and so many of them have won awards, and you have more to come that will win awards. I wanted to just call out, when I say wide-ranging, I mean board books, picture books, like fiction picture books, nonfiction picture books, biographies. She writes in rhyme, she writes in prose. And also, I know that, well, two things. One, you're also very into baking, right?
You forgot the middle grade book.
Oh, the middle grade books. Oh, my goodness.
Novel and verse.
Novel and verse, that's right. Artsu all around. Is that, and it's cricket, right? She wants to play cricket. Okay. Yes. Thank you, Kelli. Half of my brain resides in Kelli's brain, which is why hers is like so big. Anyway, so, and she's a longtime member of 12 by 12. She gave us an incredible webinar a couple of years ago that was one of the most popular on how to use mentor texts in your writing when you're writing something specific. And we're going to, spoiler alert, just like we always do when we have a guest who's done a webinar, we'll be giving listeners a discount for 25%. That webinar is so helpful and so deep on craft. And you can grab that at 12 by 12. That's 12x12 challenge, 12by12challenge.com/Marzieh. And that's spelled Marzieh. And all of this will be in the show notes and on our blog.
And you'll definitely want to see the show notes because Marzieh has like the best author photo on the planet. So
It is.
To see that photo, you want to definitely go to the show notes.
Yes.
On the blog or, yeah.
Thank you. That was the second thing I was going to say, is that it's truly a can't miss author photo.
Thank you so much. My nephew took it, so I keep telling him.
Yeah.
We love it. We love it. Like, could he take my photo? Could I?
I'll ask.
We need to make sure there are birds flying in the background.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so just before we started, you were telling me about how 12 by 12, normally I save this for the end, but you were talking about how 12 by 12 was really pivotal for you in quite a number of the books that you've had published.
Yes, that's true. I joined 12 by 12, I think in 2021. And it's just been like such a constant. And favorite part of the 12 by 12 forum is the full manuscript critique section, which I use a lot still, like even as a published author. I think in my earlier years, I used to go and read all of the ninja critiques, and not just the ninja critiques, like all of the members are also so talented. When you read others' work in progress, and then you read the revision of it, which is usually posted further down a few months later, and you can, go and track what the previous version was and what the current version is, and all of the comments and what, a writer chose to incorporate into their revision. And even the ninja critiques, they're like so detailed and so much fun to read. And I learned a ton from there. So I think other than like published books, the books that are the manuscripts that are on there are actually like it's gold, right? Because you see it what it was, and then you see it shape into something by the end of the year. Because many writers tend to repost. At least that's what I do. I repost, like I post once or a few in the beginning, and then I'll rework them, and then when I'm ready to share again, I will actually repost as a revision. And then often I also tag members who saw the first version and who offered to critique a revision. I do want to mention that my Yasmin Larry book, which is my picture book biography, which has won like multiple recognitions, and the Bank Street, the Cook Prize silver medalist,
wow.
Bank Street
That's
Scholarship.
very prestigious.
And that for a book that everybody kept saying, picture book biographies are so hard to sell. You want to like steer away from them. And but I got such great feedback, and it became a book like that in itself. Is amazing.
That's amazing.
And then like I just heard that it has made the honor list for the IBI, the International Books for Young Readers from Pakistan.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
Wow.
yeah, for this year. It came out 2 years ago. So for it to still be included on this, it's like, and it makes me so happy because, the Yasmin Larry herself, I keep like updating her whenever there's a new award.
Oh.
And she is, it's like, it's more special because it's about a living, icon.
Yeah, living person.
And she is, so when I, she is. And just to like share that, even like after years, it's been like 2 years, and picture book biographies, like I said, they were a tough sell at that time. They're still a tough sell, but just the support that you get from the community, like the number of members who critique your work, and then once it's published, they celebrate it with you. They're like cover reveals, you all post it on socials, and there's like it feels like a whole celebration, right? And then the Friday dance parties. I used to, when I like I'm not so good at them right now, but I still go in to read, and it's so uplifting because it makes you so happy for all of the people who are on this journey with you. And I used to really like the first 3 years, I think I was like so diligent with that Friday dance party. Like it just be on track. And when the book comes out, and when there's so many members who are like longtime members, so they've seen the whole journey, right? So I will mention Kirsten Larson. She was one of my first few critiquers, and she is like, all of her podcasts are like gold. All of her recordings, webinars, classes, whatever she offers.
For sure.
Her comments in the forum,
the information on the nonfiction section on the forum, even all the other sections on the forum, right? So there's the, even though I don't like actively participate, but the book chat is like so enlightening. And I have so many craft books that I have bought after reading, people's analyses of chapters in the book chat.
Yeah.
And so much, like, I think I'm just babbling about how much there is on there. But I love all the reminders that you'll keep sending, because, other than the webinars, like that.
Bless you.
Like,
you made my day. I love all the reminders you sent. You made my day.
Those reminders keep me on track, because I am always listening in. Like when there's like less than 1 day left on the counter, and that timer, oh my gosh, that timer really like,
on the replays we have a timer. Yep.
We do? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that. I was today years old when I learned that you have a timer on the webinars.
I don't have to do the conversion, and it's there.
Right. That's true. We should mention, is it okay to mention that you're coming to us from Pakistan today?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It is 10 p.m. right now. So I am, 9 hours?
Okay.
Right.
Well, we thank you so much for being here. And one of the things that we love about 12 by 12 is exactly this, that there are people from all over the globe. One thing I wanted to ask you is, so you're in Pakistan, and I remember you told me once that there weren't a lot of libraries in Pakistan. And then you wrote a book about, which I love, which is, I'm going to hold up real quick for those watching on YouTube. It's The Camel Library, a true story from Pakistan where a man was delivering firewood on his camel, but then during the pandemic, they were struggling to get books to kids for learning, and so it switched to. I just love this, and there's an Easter egg in here. I think
switched to the camel delivering books.
The camel delivering books.
Got it.
And I think that there's an Easter egg of a dupatta is in here. Which I loved. This is the illustration, and you can see one of Marzieh's other books here in the camel's little book carrier. But I wondered, what was it that made you want to publish books in the U.S. or in North America? To get an agent here and publish here.
You're right. So I'm going to start off with why I publish books in English and not in Urdu. Right?
Okay.
So I grew up in Dubai, and my Urdu is like not my first language, right? I went to international school in Dubai, and my Urdu is still, I feel, very weak. Although I moved here when I was about 12, so all my, the formative years of my life, I was just speaking English. Also, then when I moved here, I went to a convent school where it was the main language used was English again. So I'm much more comfortable with English. And then I was a baker, and I had no clue that I would ever be an author. I did not dream that author dream that so many authors do dream. But when and I was running like a thriving business, which became like difficult for me to manage with when my younger one was around 2. And I started actually writing letters to my own kids. That's how I started. They were, so I was inspired by the day the crayons quit. My son, actually, my elder, my firstborn, he used to go for reading classes, and we don't have libraries. We don't have public libraries at all. And where there are a few private or public-private owned libraries coming up now, but in Karachi there's no active, well-stocked, updated library. And even if they do have kids books, it's usually like curriculum based. There are no like narrative stories,
like
so to
reading
say.
for enjoyment isn't
No. And even like where there are libraries, like they are the people who come there will bring their own study material. So it's not really for it's not a thing.
Wow.
And and when I used to go with my so my younger one was a toddler at that time, and my elder one was taking classes, so he would be in class for like I think 40 minutes or an hour, and the reading area was like a little curated library. And that is where I started reading books which were and the ones that I had read when I was a kid were so different from the ones that were being published, right? And this is like, I think this is pre-pandemic, so around 2018, 2019. And at that time, like I'm saying, I had no clue. The first time I picked up The Day the Crayons Quit, I was like so fascinated. I was like, I had never been exposed to, so this is 2018 or 2019, right? And when I used to read with my son, but they were like, the fables and the very regular, very, I don't know, I would call them dated now, because not dated, but like some classics and some which were so, I don't even have a word for them. Like, I don't want to say they were
just sort of an older style of book, right?
And
like
the themes and the ways that now that we are so like aware that this is not the kind of words you use, and this is not the kind of terms you use, and these are stereotypes, and all of like, now that I know that what I was reading back then was not the stuff that I wanted to read. And when I would sit in this library, I would just soak up all of these books with my toddler, right? So and I didn't think I would be writing books like that. But then I came across, like, I think it was Malala's Pencil, which is written by Malala. I think it was written by a white author, if I'm not mistaken. But there were books in there, and I think I came across the Yasmin series by Sadia Faruqi, right? And at the time, I was not even on socials and not aware of what is being read around the world and all of that. And I would just soak up these stories, and I would wait for my son's class. I'm sure he was not as eager to go to reading class as much as me and my little one were, and it was so much fun. And then I started so I read widely, obviously, right? 2 days a week, 1 hour each day, and just like across, there were like board books, but mainly picture books, and then there was a few middle grades. So yeah, I think that's when I started reading, and that's when I like discovered this joy of books, which I felt like I was so unfortunate not to have really grown up with it. We used to have school libraries, but that was like one little shelf, literally outside our classroom. And books were not in the best shape. And I just and when I've visited, the US, and I've been to different states, and it's just like I feel like a lot of people take their libraries for granted, because there's so many programs that are being offered for free. There's so much more than just books being offered, right?
Right.
And when I came across this Camel library, it was because I've been really fascinated with camels. So growing up in Dubai, we used to get camel rides all the time. There used to be like fairs, and there would be a camel. And then in Karachi,
that's on my bucket list, is to ride a camel one day. I love camels.
When they get up. It is really scary when they get up, but it's real fun. And then on the Karachi shoreline, so the beach, it's a thing to take a camel ride, right? There's horse riding, and there are camel rides at the beach. Anyway, so yeah, and then I think I started writing letters to my own kids, and I used to also do a lot of Quran journaling. So using the Quran as there's so many stories in the Quran, right? And one of them is actually, there's a verse in the Quran that says, "Do you not see the wonders of the camel?" I'm paraphrasing, but there is, so there's lots of instances where Allah actually draws your attention to things in nature, to the sun. He swears by the sun, or day or night, and these are concepts which I would want to try to break down for my kids and make it accessible to them. So I was doing a lot of art and spending a lot of time explaining concepts which were not necessarily like they were complex. They're complex in the Quran, and I would just be like, filtering it down for my kids to a level that was, and I didn't even realize I was doing this. Again, it was, my son is on the spectrum, and he has ADD. So I would be breaking down things, or like explaining cause and effect in a way that I didn't realize I was doing it. And when I wrote this story, which eventually became an Islamic book. So I have a few Islamic books which are like, they're not necessarily explaining things in context, so they're not mainstream, but I started off with publishing Islamic books, and the process for that went much faster. And then, and I started thinking to myself, why am I only writing Muslim books for Muslim kids, right? Why am I not writing about like our experiences and our joys and the celebrations and everything that brings me joy? Why am I not sharing it? And that's when I started like just researching, and the pandemic hit just around that. So everything that was only offered on site, suddenly everything went online, right? And I think I won a scholarship with the Children's Book Academy, and that's where I learned about agents. I had no clue what a literary agent is in 2019, and I won that scholarship in August. I think it was a 6-week scholarship. And then I started, I think it just went from there. I signed with my agent in 2020, August or September.
Wow. That's amazing.
Incredible.
You mentioned that you shifted from writing Islamic books, Muslim books for Muslim children, and wanting to share all of that with a broader, I think the word you used, mainstream kind of make sense of broader trade, what they would call trade picture books. And when this episode airs, it will be during Ramadan. And you have written several books. I have two of them here. One is a board book called Radiant Ramadan, and Marzieh said that she hasn't even gotten her copy yet. So at the end of the episode, we'll do a little read aloud of it because it's just a board book and it's very sweet.
Publisher of that? Are they the same ones that do Our World?
No, this is Little B, which is
Little B. Oh, okay.
the same
publisher,
my publisher. That's right. And then, but this one I really loved, A Ramadan to Remember, because first of all, I learned so much, and I love learning, and I want to emphasize that you can learn a lot reading fiction too, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to just read nonfiction. And so there's a lot of details about Ramadan through this character. And we talk a lot about layers in picture books, but I loved the fact that this boy, Zane, is that how you pronounce it? Okay. Zane is in a new neighborhood and there's no mosque there, and he's the only Muslim child, so he thinks, right? And he had been attending an Islamic school, and now he's attending what I assume is a public school. And so Ramadan is like a little bit lost he's worried about how it will be. And that layer, it added on to the fact that it is a book about Ramadan, but it's also a book about a family being in a new place and friendship and how to bridge cultures and so many things. And I know that this is one of your passions, writing another book of yours, a Dupatta is, and henna is. These are in osmosas. These are all very much specific to your culture and your upbringing. So talk about how at the time that you were writing these, did you know, or did you have a sense of which publishers would be looking for this kind of thing? And did you sort of tap into the whole, like there's a whole move, we need diverse books and resources now that didn't exist even 5-10 years ago. So how did you approach that, I guess is what I'm saying.
So I will be honest, I didn't have enough know-how about what publishers would want at that time, right? I didn't have enough know-how about even like, the big fives, and these are mid-sized, and this is, so some publishers are mid-sized and they have, they have a limited list, but then they might be distributing through a larger publisher, right? And this is all stuff that I learned along the way. I think the Facebook group of 12 by 12 I used to just ask, and I still do, ask absolutely anything I want to over there. And there's always people who have some experience with it, or they will point you in the right direction, right? Or they will post links, or there's something already on the forum, which they will, post a link to. So I will say I learned a lot from fellow, and I would just say it, I would say, I'm not familiar with this, and how would you? And there's just such an uplifting community over there that, I never felt silly asking any of that. So I think whenever a lot of the books that I wrote while I was writing them, I actually heard, don't query these kind of books. This is not the right climate to query, so the picture book biography specifically. Also, some feedback that I got was about, changing the bullying aspect and making it more joyous, right? So that was something that was that critique partners and people whom I connected with along the journey made me aware about. But as far as writing to, the demands, I think there was a hashtag own voices that was trending at the time that I was querying. So I remember using that hashtag, or that. I don't think it's used as much anymore, but I do remember it being like a buzzword at that time. And thereafter, I do feel the market has slowed since with whatever is happening politically and in the world generally, and also just generally publishing is so slow and you don't know what is what direction it might go in when. But so I've always been really encouraged by my agent as well to just write stories that that make me happy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something that is teaching, but it might be because of the content that I write about. I need to explain some stuff in context. I also feel like, so I haven't always had it really easy. I know that because I have written things that I haven't kept the market in mind. I know that like my middle grade novel in verse took it was on submission for 1.5 years, and we stopped submitting it. So it was kind of shelved. And the last editor on the list sent an offer straight off. We didn't know that it's going to second reads. We didn't know that it's going to acquisitions, nothing of that stuff. We just got an offer 10 months, exactly 10 months from the date that my agent had sent her the manuscript. In the middle, we didn't have any idea about her. And I actually thought the book is died on submission. But yeah, I feel like being, when you enjoy the process, you don't think so much about the end. And that is also a belief that, and a practice that keeps me going, because it's tough. The publishing industry is really tough. And if you keep thinking about, and it's, I mean, if you don't keep joy and the joy of the process forefront, at the forefront, you're going to feel really pressurized, and, your creativity is going to feel stifled because of that. And so I feel like sometimes, and so my name basically means Marzieh, which means it means the will of God. And my dadi, my grandma used to say, child, tell her she can't do it and she'll do it. She has And so my mom always tells me the same thing. She's like, if somebody tells you not to do it, I know you're going to go exactly go down that path and do exactly that. So, taking it as a challenge, right? Like, is this going to sell? Like, this is something I'm really passionate about. Let's write. So the same thing happened with my board books, by the way. I wrote it as a picture book, and I will say one of the mentor texts was Valerie Balling's, her text. Books are I think Together We Ride and Together We Swim was one of the mentor texts for my books. And when I wrote it as a picture book, and I just had one book. So there was just Friday Fun. That was the only book that was there. And when my agent queried it, and especially to I've worked with several editors, so she sent it out to those editors, and they said, this is too niche, is what the main feedback that we got, that this is very like a Muslim celebration of Fridays, and it's too Muslim. And my agent went ahead and told me, if we can't sell it, why don't we reposition it as a board book, and why don't you write 2 more to go with this? They can be any other celebrations, and let's query it as a set of 3. And that's what I did, and it sold.
Wow.
In the first week, I think we had 2 editors interested, and then we
I'll tell you,
people are going to ask who your agent is, because you've mentioned her quite a bit, and she sounds like she's super supportive.
She is Lynette Novak from the Seymour Agency.
Ah, okay.
Oh, great.
And then I know another question that people are going to have, because whenever you talk about writing a picture book biography of somebody who is alive, the question is, did you have to get permission? And I'll let you answer that. But I'm also curious, because you said that you're communicating with her after the book came out about the success and the awards and things. So I'm wondering if you talked to her before the book came out, or if that's a relationship that's been built since since the book was
No, no,
published?
absolutely. I spoke to her. So I didn't. I knew again from all the questions that I ask on the Facebook group that you don't really need permission if the information is public, right?
Mm.
But I didn't. I there wasn't much information. So Yasmin Larry, just to give you a little bit of background, she is a very celebrated architect, but more than I mean, she is. She's the first woman architect of Pakistan as well. But her real, like the story that I've written, and the way that she wants herself to be recognized as well is as a philanthropist, right? She worked on
Mm.
rehabilitation, and that is so different from the structures that she built previously. That she actually says it herself that all of the work that I'm doing now is actually atoning for all the carbon footprint that I created before because there was so much granite
Oh,
and concrete
wow.
and glass that she has these magnificent structures in Karachi and all over Pakistan. She's one like
And
the
she's a
you know
green architect now, so that's what
yes,
she's saying she's
yes,
atoning
yes.
for.
And
Okay.
she won the Reba Prize, which is the Royal Institute of British Architects, which is a prize that is not even awarded every year. Like if there's someone who is good enough for it,
Wow. Wow.
then they award it. And she received it from King Charles. She was the first one to receive it
Wow.
from King Charles.
Wow, that's
And the
incredible.
one, the single woman who won it before her was Zaha Hadid, and we all know who Zaha Hadid, right? She is so. I mean, her structures are all over the world, and but the amazing thing is that Yasmin Lari actually won it for the work that she's doing with like mud and clay and thatched roofs, and you will still see the beauty in the structures that she's building now, but she calls her own architecture philosophy the barefoot social architecture because she's literally building for people who are so poor that they cannot even afford sandals on their feet.
Mm.
And she is, I mean, she's taught me so much about life because I actually connected with her during the pandemic. And she actually had COVID at the time. And
Oh,
her husband passed away from COVID. And while
Oh.
she was in hospital, she's like messaging me, and this is like at the end of 2020, I think. No, sorry, the end of 2021. And she's messaging me from hospital that I'm so sorry. I know I had an appointment. I was supposed to meet you over Zoom, but you're going to have to excuse me because I still have the oxygen
Mm.
support that I need, and I
oh.
won't be able to speak. And I'm like, who is this woman? Like amazing. So
Yes.
and I told her, I said, and I call her Yasmin auntie, like she's not related to me, but we call people auntie when like as a term of endearment and
Yeah.
respect. And so I told her, I want to write a book about you, and I don't want it to be just for people in Pakistan because honestly, I did not know who she was. I was researching for another book, which is an alphabet book of mine, which is called ABCs of Pakistan, and I couldn't get what to put in for why. And so I asked on a Facebook mom group in Pakistan, and I said, what shall what is something with why that your kids know, which is related to Pakistan? And somebody said, why don't you highlight Yasmin Lari? And literally that's where I found out about
Wow.
her. And
Wow.
yeah, and before, like, she hadn't won all like as many awards at that time, but she was already doing this work for like years, right? And she just probably hadn't gotten like the local recognition. And so she was not on my radar at all. And when I started researching the work that she was doing, and I was like, Yasmin Auntie, I want the world to know about you, and the kids of the world are going to be like so, inspired by you. And she's like, no, 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 beta, don't. Like, that's not why I'm doing it. Like, the people I'm doing it for, they have houses, and she has this open source like philosophy. So she puts everything online, so you can just like scale, and you can like build a one bedroom room, or you can build like a 2 bedroom room, or you can
Wow.
like customize it. And people in all parts of the world where there is flooding are using her open source, not all the knowledge that she's just put out there for free.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
so, yeah, she is amazing. And she was, and after, like, while, it took like 2 years, right, for the book to come out. And I've been in touch with her. Like, I used to send her, okay, this is what is like, this is the stage of the book right now. And she used to get really, she didn't know till the book came out. And I have a video up on my Instagram, which is her first reaction. And she thought I was just talking about, about the structures. She didn't know that I'd written like basically like from the time that she was little and the partition
Oh.
of the Indian subcontinent and how she got inspired from her own father and all of that. So she was like, "How much research have you done on me?" Because I was like, I literally felt like I was, and I used to also verify. She has an organization which is called the Heritage Foundation of Pakistan. So I used to actually verify any facts that I needed through them. And yeah, I just feel so blessed to have been able to tell her story because she's just an amazing human, like
Yes, definitely.
I've been involved like once the floods receded and in the villages that she's working in, she's actually been building libraries. And so I've been involved, and she's been like introducing little skits and little things that they just like the one person learns it, she trains one person and then she sends them out to all the villages. And so when she's creating those, she sometimes sends it to me and she's like, can you just have a look at this, what else can I add to it? And so we're like WhatsApp buddies.
Wow.
That's amazing. So how cool is that from like a letter, looking for a Y letter related to Pakistan, you end up not just with this beautiful book, which I want to remind everybody is Yasmin Lari, Green Architect, the true story of Pakistan's first woman architect, illustrated by Hoda Haddadi. And it is truly fascinating and inspiring and all of the things. But the idea that you not only got the idea for this story, but also developed this relationship that's continuing. And now you're continuing to work with her on the philanthropy side and something that you're passionate about, which is libraries. This is the power of books right here, people.
What a full circle moment.
Like it's not just a book. It's a living thing. And in this case, you've written about a living person, but all books have this possibility to grow into so much more. And I speaking of which, I did want to ask you about mentor texts and structure, because I know those are really big things for you. And you talked early on about how important it was for you reading all of those books before you even started writing. And so if you could give us just a little bit of information on how you use mentor texts as you're writing. And specifically, the question is, how do you avoid mimicking somebody else's writing or structure or whatever, but learning from them to apply to your own writing?
Yeah. So I will say that when I was reading all these books, I did start reviewing them on like my social media account actually started off as a reviewer. And because I was doing that on the side, I started taking note of aspects that are in the book, right? The language and the structure and all of that unconsciously. But when you need to write something about, when you need to publish a review about a book, you look at it from a different lens. So that definitely did help as well. And then with mentor text study, I feel I basically type out mostly I type out the entire text that I am using as a mentor text. And I did, or at least if I have like a bunch of them, I will at least do like the first few spreads of each. And I talk about that in my webinar in detail. And I have this slide up there, which is, all of the all of the mentor texts that I studied for Yasmin Lari, and there were over 40 of them. And then I also make a study of, what is the length of an average picture book biography or whatever genre I'm writing in. So if it's fiction, I'm going to do that kind of study. And then what is the kind of back matter that they have, and what is things that they, include in the story, and what is stuff that they leave for the back matter. And if you see both of my books, so even the Camel Library is kind of narrative nonfiction. It was written from the point of view of the camel. Previously, when I queried it, it was, when it went out on submission, it was a purely nonfiction story. But then my editor suggested that, why don't you try it from first person, like from the point of view of the camel, which makes it so unique. And then, a lot of the information that the camel wouldn't have had access to directly, was back matter. And also like all the amazing facts about, camels, and a lot of additional stuff, which has, not necessarily has a tie-in to this topic, but not directly to the story that I was telling. So I was able to put all of that into the back matter. And again, that is because I've been studying like the back matter of narrative nonfiction books in such detail. Did I answer?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to say real quick that Marzieh's webinar is called Mentor Text Your Way to Picture Books That Pop. But really, the alternate title could be Teach Yourself to Write Picture Books.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what you've done with Mentor Text. I find your story so inspiring because it's not like you went and took a lot of classes. Like you didn't even really have access to a library. And you still made that happen with the resources that you had, and you're putting books out there for kids who need them and maybe don't have access to them. And it's so inspiring. So if you're somebody out there who maybe has limited funds to take all these classes and go on retreats and join things and go to conferences and whatnot, this little investment
yeah
in Marzieh's webinar is going to go so far for you, because her story is so inspiring, but she doesn't keep it to herself. In that webinar, she really shares how she's made it happen. And how many books do you have published now since 2017, 2018?
So I do write a lot of work for hire as well. I have about 42.
Wow. That's
so there you go.
Right.
And I think that's because you studied the books and the market, and you were really open. Like, you didn't have a lot of unlearning to do either. You were very open to what are these books and how do they work. And I think it's so inspiring, and I could not be happier for you.
Yeah.
But I do want to say there were so many times that I used to feel so lonely, writing here. And also that, that feeling of not being able to walk into a bookstore and see your book there, or, not being able to celebrate with people who get what, the joy and the struggles and
yes,
and tears that went into making a certain title. I think I have to give it to the 12 by 12 community. It is so supportive, and it is so like there's nothing that you will feel that you can't do when you're amongst these kindred souls, and it just feels like so supportive. And I know, and there are the affinity groups as well, and there is which are a great idea, and there's so much on the forum that for published authors, so you can request reviews of your book. You can exchange reviews of your books. You can ask people to request your book at a library. And I think, and there's so many people who will like snap pictures for me because they know I'm not there. And I keep saying it, like, it really makes my day when someone, who has maybe heard my webinar or, received a critique for me goes out and gets my books and then sends me a picture. And it's just like,
yeah, it is. It's like, and so speaking of which, this is a great way, I think, for us to end. I won't read the whole thing in case, that runs amok of copyright, but here's Radiant Ramadan.
Those illustrated. Who's the illustrator? Those are adorable.
They really are. Anusha Syed. And you can see on the back here, Friday Fun and Excited for Eid. And I'm assuming that's your trilogy, right? So you haven't got your own copy yet. So since you just said you love seeing people with it, if you're watching this on YouTube, so it's so sweet. It's so sweet. I'm going to send this to my niece, who is 18 months old right now. Sleepy blink, moon wink, hands raised, Allah praised. Suhoor drummer, prayer hummer. And then there's Allahu Akbar, Saban Allah, Alhamdulillah. Did I say that correctly?
Right.
One more. Early spread, eggs and bread. And it continues with just this one family and how they celebrate. And it's so sweet and cute and really accessible for anyone, whether they're Muslim or they celebrate Ramadan or not. But it's so wonderful to have a book for babies, especially in Muslim families as they're learning about their own religion and their own celebrations. So, and of course, speaking of joy, you're just so joyful and we appreciate you so much. We love, love, love having you in 12 by 12. And once again, if you want to get the webinar, the amazing webinar, it's 12by12challenge.com/Marzieh. Marzieh. We like to ask all of our guests, what is one picture book that you wish you had written and why?
Okay, that's an easy one because I really love Big Red Lollipop by Roxana Khan.
Oh, that
I just
book,
love it. And it was published in 2010. I went and checked.
Yeah.
And it is just such an amazing book. And I actually used it as a mentor text for a book that might be coming out.
Oh yeah, that book
That's
is
a great
such
book.
and I love that it's a modern classic because I feel like
Yeah.
people still read that book in schools, and it's amazing.
The
So when you
sibling,
hear-
I mean, that's like,
and
I have a
yeah.
sister and we were always at odds as children, and it was just like, that so resonated with me, the
And we are
kids in
four
that
sisters,
story.
and I'm in the middle. So
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it was just, I mean, that's a perfect example of taking a very specific experience and even a cultural experience, but making it accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's a good one.
One more quick question, which is, do you have anything coming up that you want to share?
I don't think I am able to share yet.
Okay.
So this one that
She
I'm talking
does have a
about is,
Substack though, and we'll put the link to her Substack in the show notes because you can follow along there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marzieh, for being here, especially given the time zone difference and so on. We're so happy. And for all of our listeners, if you like the podcast, please like the episode, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast streamer, like, review, all of the things. It's really helpful for us. Comment, let us know what you'd like to hear. And thank you again, Marzieh.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Kelly. Bye, Julie.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Do it together so never you fear. It's a handy little way to help you kick into gear. You're amazing, exciting. Look out, cause you're writing 12 by 12. 12 manuscripts. 12 by 12. 12 picture books. 12 by 12.